There we go. I think we're live, Gail.
Said I was live, so
I think we're live. All right. Happy Monday.
happy Monday to you.
Isn't it great to start the week off so happy?
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah. Yeah, think about it. Like how many people do you know that hate Mondays?
True. And just do not enjoy life at work.
Yeah. But we do, don't we?
Oh my gosh, yes.
We love what we do. So,
Yes. And I
so
loved what I did before I met you, but I love what I do so much more now. So, and
and I like that. I love what I mean, I get that. I get that you loved what you did before, but now you love it so much more.
oh my goodness.
Um, why do you think that is?
Because I had always sought contentment, but I never understood I needed to include growth. So my approach to growth was I just need to get to a place where I don't have to grow. That's how I approached it. And so I got to where I thought I wanted to be, and I realized I wasn't necessarily as content as I was hoping for. And I couldn't figure out why. I had no idea when I called you. I was just looking into coaching as something to add to my practice. And then I started coaching with you, and I was like, oh, there's a whole world out here I did not incorporate into myself.
Ooh, I love that. That is so
Yeah,
beautiful. Thank you
yeah.
for sharing that. Yeah. Before we get on a roll, we already kind of have, but I'd love to give you the opportunity to tell people what you do and who
Oh,
you are and all
mhm.
of that. So, yeah, say hello to everyone and tell us a bit about you and what you do. And then we can get more into the growth.
Okay. So, hello everyone. My name's Gail Seaman, and I own a practice called Lifestream Family Counseling here in Huntsville, Alabama. I also own a practice for coaching called Spark and Sage Coaching. You can find me on Facebook and online. And my specialties are working with autism, ADHD, neurodiverse relationships, anxiety. And like I said, I love what I do.
Yeah, and you're good at it.
I think so. People keep coming back. So,
Yeah, you're good at it. I mean, your purpose, when you live your purpose, it doesn't even feel like work. So that's why we love Monday so much, right?
and that is the truth about coming to work is I love working with my clients. I love my clients. I and just enjoy the whole process. And now I have an AI transcriber for my notes, which I never would have done before TIR. And oh, it has just opened up my world. My note taking takes so much less time, and I'm not doing insurance anymore. Thank you, TIR. Thank you, Cheryl. And yeah, life at work is really good.
Mm. So you came into this as a counselor, as a
Mhm,
therapist,
mhm,
wanting to explore the world of coaching
mhm,
for your own practice. And I mean, really, there's so many people out there that need your help, right?
mhm, mhm,
So it makes sense to see how you can expand and grow so that you can help more people.
mhm.
So tell us a bit about where you were when you started this journey with me.
Well, I was accepting insurance. There um, is a thing about insurance where they really don't increase your reimbursement schedules at all. So I hadn't really had a raise in, ooh, 7, 8 years. And, our costs since COVID have gone up dramatically. And I also wasn't satisfied with the amount my practice was making, even though I had every hour filled. And so I was exploring the idea of having coaching added as a way of altering that. But what I'd always wanted to do was let the insurance companies go. And I had a lot of terror around that. And, most therapists do, trying to go completely private pay when you're usually receiving your referrals from the insurance companies is a scary thing.
Mm,
I had a lot of self-doubt that I would be able to make it, but it was one of the first things I did, and I have not looked back. And I am now making more money. Um, and I work even a little bit less. And I have time in my day to explore development and adding to what I do and growing my skill set and learning how to be a business owner and all these other things that I never really had time to do. And I just love it. Have always loved learning. It is part of my personality, but I had stopped in my business. And
mm,
now I know how to do that. And not only that, I know that when I hit some goal I've set for myself, I'm just going to set another,
mm.
because that growth, that feeling of moving forward is so critical to my well-being. And I did not know that. So
That's
I just thought, I have anxiety. I just want to be calm. And that doesn't work.
yeah, but it's funny because you have to think about what's driving the anxiety.
Right. And this program has reduced it significantly.
Because
And
anxiety is just all about fear of the future, right?
well, yeah, and based on your experiences in the past, right? You're using your past to extrapolate to the future. And sometimes you're doing it without any conscious awareness that you're doing that.
Hmm.
Um, and I I really think that some of the tools that we use really help sort of surface some of that. And then this other program that I'm doing with you has really blown that open. And so I can move from the essentially the lies that my anxiety is trying to tell me into that more creative, productive, exciting way of approaching life. And it just feels good. You just feel good all the time.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I mean, isn't that what it's all about?
Yep.
I mean, sure, we want the money and like the success and all the things, right? The impact,
Mhm.
but we want to feel good while we're
Yes.
doing it.
Yes. We
And
want to
most
feel
of us
good.
don't feel good while we're doing it. We're just like the grind, the hustle, the working hard, you
And
know?
you don't. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Even when you love what you do, you can end up there. And that was what I had not known until that's where I ended up. And I was like, okay, I need to do something different, but I don't really know what. And then I was just, you were the first coach I spoke to. And that was really random. I had just thrown it out there that maybe I should get coached in order to be a coach. And then, yes, I
Mm,
need coaching. And it has really revolutionized my approach to my life. Um,
yeah.
my willingness to invest in myself and in my business. Like, I ended up with a situation where my continuing education wasn't where it needed to be. Um, and I just made the decision. I was just going to go get the units I needed. I was going to get them in a week, and I was just going to pay what I needed to in order to acquire EMDR knowledge. And I went and did it. And I haven't looked back, and I'm thrilled beyond measure to add that skill set to my practice. I think it's going to do so much for my clients, and I never would have done that before TIR.
Mm, mm.
So,
So good. I mean, it's it, you made the decision. So like there was something inside of you that said, I want this, or I mean, we all have these desires within us, right? And but most of the time we can't break through all the mental barriers to move towards them.
Right.
That's where the you know, some of the obstacles come into play. So what do you think it was that just made you go, okay, I'm doing this?
Hmm. I'm not exactly sure. I know that I had gotten to a good place with managing my income from the business. And so I was willing to use resources where before I was struggling. And so I'd gone through a year of really being very mindful about that. And so then I saw this opportunity and I knew I wanted to learn through experience. And and there was something about the way you were telling me, oh, that's absolutely possible, where most of my colleagues would have just looked at me cross-eyed, because if you stay with the insurance companies, it's not. Um, and, and so I was like, okay, I want that. And I have the room to make that happen. So let's do it. And then
Hmm.
once I pulled the trigger on something, I'm all in.
Yeah, you were all in. There's no
Yeah.
question about it. You played full out, you know, during the course of our work together. And I mean, I think obviously that makes a huge difference.
It really does. It's the immersion and the consistent repetition that you talked about in the beginning, and I didn't really understand, but
Mhm.
it is absolutely that. It's almost like you're worrying away at the rock of how your brain is constructed with this continuing waves of more positive, more helpful, more, I don't know how to describe it, energetic way of being. And and eventually it just gets into you. And then
Mhm.
there you are. And now I do morning study every day.
Awesome. That's so good.
I write down my goals and I'm listening to a book and I write to myself about what I'm learning and how it applies to me. I'm doing all those things and
That's
there's nobody
well, I
watching
mean,
me.
that's what you really want, right? The
Yes.
permanent shifts, not the temporary ones. So
Yes.
you've,
Yes.
you know, you've developed these amazing, beautiful habits
And
to,
they
yeah.
are so supportive. And I feel so good about how I'm starting my day. I am walking every single day, and on the weekdays, I walk at 6:15 a.m. Like, who am I?
Who am I? I know. But
Hi.
that's the thing, right? We always say when you do this work, you're going to have to look back at yourself, you know, through a telescope and to
I
see where you
totally
came from. And because you won't recognize yourself with the transformation.
know. And
And
people around me have all noticed it. They've all thought that this was an incredible investment, that it was so good for me.
that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, not only have you had some really powerful shifts in your business, in your practice, you know, and you're charging more and you're working less, you're making more, you're charging more, you're working less, you're bringing all these new skills into your practice as well. And, but you've had some, you know, amazing personal shifts.
Yeah. Yeah. So battling with my weight has been literally a lifelong journey. I mean, I've was born and then poof, I was using food to self-soothe for all kinds of reasons we don't need to go into, but um, I, as a result, had a very strong belief about how much I hated my body. And and when you hate yourself, it is very difficult for you to do good things for yourself, right? Because you don't want to engage with that emotion, and so you kind of just and um and this program really broke that open for me. I love my body. Even though I can see all of its difficulties, I love my body. And I take my body to curves 3 times a week where I
Yeah.
work out on these machines and sweat a lot, and which is not in my natural, I don't know, way of being. Um, but it's been just a wonderful transformation. I've released weight. I probably have released maybe I'm going to say about 35 pounds since I started with you.
Wow, that's incredible.
I know.
I didn't know how much, but that is
No, no.
amazing.
Yes, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. And it's so interesting too, like, the way if you just shift your thinking about, going from hating your body to loving your body, right? You just start releasing
Well,
all,
and you are much more willing to do loving things for yourself.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you're just willing. Like I go to curves because I want to, not because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
And that distinction is everything, is everything. So I'm not doing it for anyone else. It's not about portraying a particular image.
Mm-hmm.
It's about me loving myself. It's pretty big.
It's
And that all came out of you saying, how did you put it? Um, I am so happy and grateful now that I love my thriving businesses. And then I was like, you know what? That feels so good. Let me love my body.
yeah,
That's how that happened. And then I was
yeah,
like, now I'm going to love my home, which, it's a work in progress as well. But
yeah.
I enjoy everything because I love it.
Falling in love with your life, your business,
Myself,
yourself. I mean, I think that's where it starts, falling in love with yourself, right? And then, nourishing and nurturing your body and your mind and your spirit and developing these beautiful habits.
mhm,
Highly successful people do things that others aren't willing to do. And, so getting up in the morning at 6:15 and going for a walk and then doing your morning study and, eating healthy food and going to the gym and, of course that's going to have an impact on your energy, your mind, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you act. And then everything, it's just a ripple effect and a ripple effect. So,
yep,
so beautiful.
yeah, yeah, it's a
Wow.
really good place to be.
So
And
beautiful.
there's so much more ahead of me, and
Yeah.
it's an exciting.
Well, and I think the thing is like what we try to do here is create permanent shifts, not temporary ones, right? Because you can come in and feel good for a while and then go off, but then are you going to keep it up? Are you going to keep the momentum going? And so it sounds like you've succeeded with that, and you have this repeatable formula. So you've created these beautiful new habits in your with your health and with your business and with your relationships and all the things that you're doing. You can just repeat the formula and achieve anything that you desire with this work.
Literally.
Yeah. And then going to the next program where you're building your mental fitness even more.
Yes.
how
And
is that how has that shifted?
that's been huge. So, a lot of my lifelong struggle has been with anxiety, and there's all kinds of reasons for that. But um, understanding how my anxiety is a protective mechanism that's really lying to me about what's real, and that I actually can choose to look at that anxiety and ease it using mindfulness techniques that are a couple of minutes long. There, you can do them anywhere. You can be in the middle of talking to someone and doing them. You can sprinkle them throughout your day. You don't have to go home. I mean, it's really good. And then so getting that somatic piece into how I work with that experience has allowed me to shift out of it so much more quickly. Not, and I don't go down the rabbit hole of trying to explore, well, why am I feeling this way? I just recognize it as, okay, you were trying to protect me. You're not useful now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's, use these techniques to calm the body. And then let's shift into this new way of approaching things. So I combine, the two programs. So I weave in the things I learned in TIR into this other one, and
Mhm.
um, and then I'm able to approach what I want to do in a thoughtful, creative, easygoing flow state, I think is the way I describe it.
Yeah,
So
that's what it's all about, right? The way of sage is the way of ease and flow.
yes.
And I was doing a master class earlier today, and the interesting thing was like I love what you said about the somatic piece, um, because I was talking about saboteurs and how our saboteurs, drive thoughts of fear and doubt and anxiety and guilt and shame and all the things, right? And so think about it, like when you're feeling all of those feelings, you're going to be in a negative vibration, right? In a negative energy, in a negative vibration.
Mhm.
And that's going to activate your nervous system,
Mhm.
right? And then think about, how, when we have our if we think about our stress responses, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So think about it, you're being activated through your negative thoughts, the lies and excuses and justifications you're telling yourself that
Yeah,
aren't true, that aren't
they're
true,
not true. They're not
right?
based in anything.
Yeah, they're not true, but they're making you feel a certain way,
Hmm.
right? That's activating your nervous system,
Hmm.
either, causing you to avoid something or, go into some, controlling, or hypervigilant way or even just with the whole like the fawn people pleasing, right? So you can see how it activates our saboteur accomplices and our nervous system. And then, but we have the power now to turn that off and intercept it and change it really quickly. And you're one of the first people to do, for first people in my group to do both of those. So it's cool to see. I'm curious, like, how do they, because I've heard from a few other people of how they complement each other. But
Hmm.
how would you say, like, because you did the first program, you did,
Hmm.
Big Life Design, Thinking to Results, and now you're doing the self mastery program. Like, how do they complement each other? Because I really feel that they do.
Oh, 100%. I think self-mastery really helps you implement more of TIR, because when your body is trying to tell you there's a problem and you don't know how to cope with that, you get lost. And so then allowing yourself to believe you can reach your goals, allow you, it's like you can't. Your body is screaming at you and you don't know what to do with that. And so then you're just sitting in that. And that's to me, this has been such a necessary piece for me to use what I've learned. And now I can do that with ease, um, because my body's not shouting at me anymore. Or when it starts to shout, I'm like, I don't need to pay attention to this except to help you calm down.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
it's not, those responses are based on childhood stuff and they're not relevant anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I can have the life I want by by self-mastery, by essentially learning self-regulation, and then recognizing that abundance is always available and all I need to do is reach out for it.
Yeah.
And that's really been, this PQ has really helped me to.
Yeah. That's so, and that only in six, like we're in the sixth week, I
I
think.
know, and
Isn't
I'm
that
like, I'm
incredible?
dedicated to this. I am going to keep practicing it because it is such an important component for me. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
It's a
I,
daily practice.
it's a daily practice. And, so it's that, you have developed the habit of putting you know, these resources, these tools and these resources into practice.
And that is, you do have to make that commitment. You have to say to yourself, this is important enough. And, sometimes I think of it as an experiment. Okay, we're going to do this for a little while and we're going to see where we are. And then you do it and you're like, oh, okay, I'll do this some more. That was kind of a morning study for me. It's like, eh, I could try this out. It's pretty early in the morning. I'm not sure about this. And then ta-da, I've been doing it every day
Yeah.
since. So,
How many days have you been doing it for?
oh, I don't know. I lost count. Over 280, 290.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Tuning, like it's a permanent thing. It's like it's just a
It's just
permanent
part of my life now. And
yeah.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's really setting you up to be in the right state of mind and the right state, right state of action every single day. And
Hmm.
to allow you to be more fully present too.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
is so, you know,
It
that
helps me
get
incorporate those goal achieving activities that otherwise I might neglect because they're not essential to getting the day done, right?
yeah,
They're forward reaching goals. And so,
yeah. So you're able to be fully present, which alleviates the anxiety and so on and so on.
oh, well, there's that too. Yeah.
So good. So good.
I don't know. Sometimes in the present, it will still rear its head.
Yeah.
Um, but it has to do with a belief, old belief that I am letting go that around who I am. And
Well, yeah, because I think a big piece of this work is the identity work, right? And you are not the same person you were, because it hasn't even been a year, Gail,
no,
right?
no,
You
it's
are not the
been,
same person you were last fall when you started this journey.
yep.
So it's incredible. I'm so excited for you. Really so happy for you. And, I just know there's more to come. What's it like to do this work? What's it like to do this work with me? What's it like to do this work with me? What's it like to do this work in a community? Because you're
Oh,
doing it's both, right? You've got
yeah.
me, the guide,
Hmm.
and then you've got this beautiful big life community.
And both of those were critical. So working with you, it- so I needed to be pushed in certain ways at certain points, and you were able to push me, and I was able to let you. But and that partially has to do with how you deliver the push. And so I remember the conversation we had when I was just terrified of letting the insurance go. It was in January, I think. And you were like, read the decision article and then just go do it. I was like, whoa. I mean,
Yeah.
um, that was a very intense experience for me, and the world did not end. It got so much better. And so going through that terror barrier, and that was a really big one for me, really helped me. And so that's the kind of stuff that I think just talking with you individually or within the group sessions that we have has really helped with. And then the group, because we're all working through the material and we all have our own slightly different perspectives, you get so much from hearing other people's takes on what you're working on, and you get support and belief in you from the group. And that really made a difference for me too. And it's those two things together that makes it so powerful.
Hmm. Yeah.
It was an immersive experience because especially when you start, there's just all of this new material that you're like, I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose, and you kind of are. But once you've gone through it that one time and you kind of get your feet under you, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and maybe you're focusing in on little bits here and little bits there, and you're just watching yourself use the material as opposed to just trying to learn the material.
Hmm.
And doing that with a group of people that's with you while you're doing that is so powerful. really
Mhm.
is.
Yeah, because you're all mirroring each other in certain ways as well, and that's helps you to create more awareness. Sometimes it's hard for us to see within ourselves, but if we see it in someone else, we can go, "Oh yeah, I see. That's me. That's me." It just
Exactly.
helps you, acknowledge it a little easier, I think. And
Mhm. Mhm.
but it's such a powerful. I mean, I always say there's power in the group, and then I'm just bringing in my expertise and my observations and my intuition and my
Your intuition
creativity
is
and
really good.
the intuition. I'm highly, highly intuitive, but and then it's just how am I going to help this person see what they need to see, right?
Mhm.
Because we know this. You can't just tell somebody something. We have to help them see it. And then I love what you said about it being the embodiment of the work, because a lot of times, I mean, this is how we were conditioned at school to learn something, but then we don't embody it. And so you've been really in, like you said, the first time you're going through it, it's a lot because we're not taught this stuff in school. And then we start to really go through it again and start to really apply it and embody it in a way that it becomes second nature
Mhm.
to us. And as you've proven here, this is like you're going to continue doing this with or without us, right? And
Mhm.
that's the beauty of it. And I always know that when there's always another layer.
Oh yeah.
And the deeper you go, the higher you go, right? So you just want to keep like, riding that wave, enjoying the growth and expansion and all the good things with ease and flow and joy and then just, what else is there? What else is there? What else is there? And that's a lifelong journey.
Mhm.
So who knows? We'll maybe see you in the next course. We don't know what the next course is yet. But I'll always let you know about it. So, what would you like to tell someone who's thinking about doing this work?
Hmm. Just do it. I know that's kind of trite, but it's an investment that if you really put your back into it, is really it pays huge, huge dividends. You will change how you approach your life if you do this program, and it will open you up to just enjoying every aspect of your life, whatever you're focusing on when you first come in. And yeah, just make that investment in yourself.
Yeah, you are your greatest investment, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And
you know,
I'd never done it before. I'd never allowed myself to invest in myself before. And it's, I don't know, there's really very, I can't find words to describe how much better my life is.
mm, it's just going to keep getting better too.
Mhm.
You've got the foundation for
Mhm.
it now, right? And I think that's just all it is, increased performance, happier, greater, sense of well-being,
And that
better.
growth, adding in knowing how to approach growing in your life in a consistent and constant and exciting way. Uh, that that's life, right? That's living. And we're not
Yeah,
really trained how to do that.
no, we're not. I mean, there are no limits to what we can achieve, except for the ones that we put upon ourselves,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
when you really like do this work, you really start to understand that there are no limits. Whatever I want is possible
Mhm.
as long as I'm willing to do the work, right?
Mhm.
And do it in a way that feels good,
Mhm.
feels easy,
Mhm.
right? That feels energized. And so yeah, just that whole new way of being and returning to wholeness in a sense of who you were always meant to be,
Yeah,
who you
that's
were born to
true.
be.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
welcome to who you were born to be, Gail. I
I'd
love
like to
it.
hear.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing this with me.
It was my
Um,
pleasure.
I'll put your link to your website in this post as well so that people can find you if they're looking for help. Because,
Okay.
like I said, there's a lot of people that need you,
Mhm.
and you're just in such a great position with all the tools that you've got in your kit now to help them. You've just got, another training in EMDR as well. So here's to more growth and expansion
Yeah.
and impact, because that's what we're here for, right? So,
Yep. Absolutely.
so happy for you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Gail.
Bye.
Bye.